What is up, guys? What's going on? Adel here with Traders Brawl in collaboration with Web3 TV. Coming at you live, we're at day one of the World Finance Council. Today I have a special guest with me, Nadja Bester, co-founder of AdLunam and also the podcast host of The Future of NFTs. How are you doing today?
I am awesome and I'm happy to be talking to you, so I'm doing doubly well.
Fantastic. We've met at so many different events and finally we are reunited in January. Tell us a little bit about yourself for the audience and what is it you're aiming to achieve at this event?
So this event, first of all, amazing event. I think we've made rekindled so many old connections as well as made new ones. I think it's a great time to start off the year in Dubai. I mean, if you're going to kick off the year, it should be in Dubai, right? So about myself, as you said, co-founder of AdLunam. I've been in the blockchain crypto space since 2017. So definitely have enough gray hair, to justify.
Can't see anything.
Yeah, but I mean the camera, the lighting, it's all. I've seen over the years the transition of crypto into what we have today, where we don't really refer to it as crypto anymore, but now more of the Web3 sort of blanket space. So what we do at AdLunam is really supporting startups, specifically with the fundraising objective. So we have an accelerator where we support not really from the ideation stage, although we do work with projects informally at the ideation stage. We typically start working with them once they've at least received some funding, angel or pre-seed. And then, we really support them from a holistic sort of multi-ecosystem perspective. The journey between, so we have an accelerator, we call it the 0 to IDO accelerator. And this really helps projects with everything from, of course, funding, which is, without funding, there's not much else to do and tell. And then also with the whole entire ecosystem that you need from the fundraising stage all the way to the IDO, the public sale.
No, that's
so fun times.
Really good. It's really good because somebody has to be doing, the acceleration program from inception to the IDO. And there's a lot that takes place. But even post-IDO, that's where the real work begins, right? Yeah. This is already, I know, but post-IDO, you can't be forgotten and marketing still has to continue. Do you help at the post-IDO stage?
So the projects that we work with have not launched because of the bear market. So certainly we will this year as things start kicking back up and, we're going to go into that healthy bull. Well, I don't know about healthy because It's crypto. So it's sometimes healthy, sometimes not. But we'll definitely be supporting projects even after the IDO. But our main focus is on the IDO itself. What I would say about that, and definitely to your point, I don't think there's enough support post-IDO. I think the reason, of course, apart from the fact that the IDO, the TGE is this massive, once in a company lifetime event, is also because a lot of Web3 founders have never been founders before. So this crucial I could say a few months, but in a bear market, it might be a few years. This period between ideation of the idea all the way to actually receiving first the institutional and then the public funds that's also the time when founders are learning how to be founders. So I think that's why such a massive emphasis is placed on this sort of very short term and only one part of things journey. Because I think the learnings that founders take from this particular leg of the race is something. It's not just about the learnings because it's about the network, right? Like the network that you create while you are in the initial stages is very often the network that you will return to. The partnerships that you form in the early stages, that is the partnerships that will go on to really support you post-IDO as well.
Right.
So I definitely agree with you. There's not enough emphasis on it, but I think that's also why it's really beneficial for startups to work with accelerators because that's where the connections come in. I mean, as an accelerator, we have a massive network and that's our business. We're in the business of networking. So if you come to us as a startup, as a project, we can point you in any number of directions based on the vast majority of relationships that we have in this category and in that category. So I think that is definitely a missing link, that if projects are trying to go at it on own steam, it's not just the funding, but it's also the value of the relationships and the network.
Very nice. No, I couldn't agree more. I'm a networker myself, and I understand the power of it, the hustle that comes with it. But yeah, definitely post-IDO. That's I think hopefully I think we're in a bull market now, and that will. I called it. I know. I'll hope to die, and you can call me, you can sue me if you want, but. I think there's lots of optimism post ETF Bitcoin spot by ETF, but also the upcoming halving that's coming up in April.
And it's my birthday in April, so I feel like Bitcoin did that especially for me. Unfortunately, not on the day, but it can't get everything right.
How can the world now revolve around you?
It does, by the way, it does.
Tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Podcast, Future of NFTs. So we focus really on talking about the future of NFTs. And I think it's been really interesting because when I first started doing the podcast, I mean, like anyone working in Web3, I had a rudimentary understanding of, what is an NFT, what is it for? But being in the position where you deep dive with different people every week, I've grown to develop a massively different understanding of what an NFT is and what the value is. And of course, especially in the market that we've just come through, where NFTs went from, 2020, like the biggest, or 2021, the biggest thing since sliced bread, to today, where, if you know about this Cointelegraph thing that happened yesterday, I was telling someone this morning, so just to put some context for those who don't know, so Cointelegraph sent out an email saying that they have an airdrop, and just click on this link. Now, of course, for anyone in crypto who are used to the scams, the first thing you would do is do due diligence. Step number 1 being check the email address that it's sent from. Sent from the Cointelegraph email address. Okay, fair enough. So I was thinking to myself, this is very interesting. It's just that, I don't have my wallet with me right now. I'm on my phone. And so it's been interesting to see how NFTs have become both a force for good and also really one of those areas where there's murky waters in terms of how companies are exploiting the technology. So I think having been in the position to do the podcast over, I think, the last year or so, it's really just expanded my understanding of what an NFT is. Maybe not right now, because I think what we are seeing, and this is true for most things in Web3, what you see right now is a lot of hopes, dreams, promises, but the underlying implication of that, it might not be apparent today or tomorrow or next year, but looking back, let's say 10 years from now, if you look back to what is happening today, the fundamentals and foundations are being laid, might not look at all the same then as it does now. But certainly these are the history in the making moments in terms of exploring the technology and what it's all about.
Okay. For the audience who maybe have not joined your podcast before, how can they join your podcast? How can you find out more information about it?
So Twitter Spaces, live every week. We'll restart the new season, I think, on the 13th of February, so just before Valentine's Day. I seem to have a knack for not quite being on the date, but in the peripheral area of the date. Right, okay. So we'll be live. We are live on Twitter Spaces on a weekly basis. And I think the value of that really is, when you're doing a podcast, I try to listen to a lot of podcasts, but if you're doing it asynchronously, it's like eavesdropping on a conversation, right? As opposed to doing it live on Twitter Spaces, if you want to jump in, if you want to ask a question, we get amazing speakers on, and they're right there, and they're accessible. So I think this is the great benefit of doing it live, and then it's subsequently available as a podcast episode on Spotify and other platforms.
What's the username to type in to get in?
The Future of NFTs.
The Future of NFTs itself.
Very generic, but easy to... No.
Wow. You must have been the first pioneers of this one.
Exactly.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Lovely to speak to you today, and good to see you again. And
absolutely.
Good to be here at this incredible event.
Likewise. Keep watching this space. We'll put all the links to her podcast in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.